Hey guys, um, I kind of want to talk about Linus Media Group and LTT. I have been a long time viewer of Linus Tech Tips, way back when they're in the Langley house. I remember, I remember the very old episodes like whole room water cooling, and I remember when Luke was regularly part of the team, not part of the team, was a regular host. I used to watch fucking what was it? That Razer prototype laptop fucking ended up being stolen. I remember when Edsel was just a cameraman. I remember when Taryn came in, and not gonna lie, I sobbed a tear when he left. I Linus was my foray into building computers. And it just kind of spurred off from that. And I remember when he was talking on the rancho saying, "Hey, they're looking at a new office building because, well, Vancouver or Langley was coming down on them because they were a full on business running out of a residential house." And it's not something like you see like craft computing running out of his basement or now his garage. The difference was Linus wasn't, or the team wasn't actually living at the Langley house. So I remember him talking about that on the rancho. I remember what was that, the land party on a mountain. I remember that. I remember when God, I remember those old days. I was for a long time a long term OG. Um, I used to frequent the forums. My account's now long dead. And no, it's not brown coat in a box. It was something else way back then. And a couple things surprise me, and a couple things don't. The thing that does not surprise me is Linus's ego. He's always had an ego, and I know for a long time he said, yeah, he was just playing up an ego. And when it comes out like behind the scenes that's real, like I'm not surprised. But what one of the things I really am surprised is, and this is Madison's coming from Madison's Twitter thread. It's just the culture behind the scenes that actually surprised me, and the fact I am really disappointed. By the way, I kind of stopped watching him about 3 years ago. From what I was moving in for my interest in computers, Linus just wasn't fulfilling that anymore. When it comes to interest, by the way. So I kind of started moving into Gamers Nexus. Really interested in hardware itself. A lot of the Linux experiment. I really like him. Gardner Bryant. I really like Gardner Bryant. So I started moving to the Linux side of things, and so for me, Linus just wasn't cutting it for me anymore. And I'm just reading what Madison was talking about, saying that hey, this was her dream job. She was like Linus and the guy and the team was who she looked up to, and just being constantly berated and made fun of, and being called fat, ugly, and stupid or retarded, and and shouldn't be lied to when, first off, not being told that they were going to hire her, but publicly saying that they were after, I think it was, what was that video? I remember really liking it. When they did a PC build giveaway, they invited her to their Vancouver office. A lot of that does really surprise me. And she says she moved from Arizona to Canada on absolute false pretenses. That is not okay. And honestly, I want to say I'm surprised she never took legal action, especially after leaving. But what a lot... But what a lot of people really do not understand, and when something very dramatic happens to somebody, and I'm not meaning drama, I'm talking about actual trauma, not drama, traumatic happening to somebody, and it can take a while for them to feel somewhat able to talk about an incident. And she was given her dream job, and she went through hell working there to the point where just to take a couple of days off for her mental health, she resorted to self-harm. That's kind of a trauma that it's not easy to get past. And as someone who has dealt with clinical depression in the past and continues to deal with clinical depression in the future, I fully understand. No, my depression has never took me to self-harm. Though I do personally put self-harm and suicidal attempts in two different categories. Self-harm doesn't necessarily mean that you're looking at dying. Suicide is that different beast. And not only that, like, up until the Gamers Nexus video, LMG was this, lack of a better phrasing I think of in this moment, was that city on a hill. It was that golden gate in technology journalism. And what someone could really do with a social media empire. That's not wanting their own platform. Yes, I know about Floatplane, and I am actually looking at getting rid of my subscription to Floatplane. But someone working within the social media platforms and creating an empire, LMG is that gold standard. And they were seen as the perfect company for the CEO that is not only still the face of working within the company, but also regularly interacts with the community. LMG was seen as perfection. So coming out against perfection, what do you honestly think the community would have done with her? We have seen time and time and time again of an individual speaking out against someone fucking huge, and not only ending with that whatever's community or fan base, berating them to no bloody fucking end. And it leads to a very, very, very dark place. And we have seen what this does to people. We have seen people deciding to sadly end themselves because of just the backlash and literally being told to kill themselves. Now you take someone with not just the ego of Linus, but the outreach of Linus. There are multiple fucking other examples I can give of where you could take a look at former President Trump's fan base and what they've done to people and the people they've targeted and decided and seeing what actions that individual has taken. We have seen this multiple times of not exactly a calculated attack on an individual, but the person saying, no, don't do this. But the community warping that and making it that attack on somebody. I don't blame her for waiting until, hey, Linus was just given one hell of a shot to the ego and swooping in there and finally letting it all out. There was a lot of this that I've read, and I'll have a link to the thread in the description. A lot of it definitely sounds like hearsay, but there's a lot of it I honestly, truly hope is untrue. Because if it is, I wouldn't wish this on anybody. But it is just so well written out. I believe her. And Madison, I know you're not watching this, but if the chances are, I truly feel sorry for you. You did not deserve this. As someone who's actually technically a retard, I don't think you are. I've seen the videos that you've written and produced, and that is definitely not the case. You're a smart cookie. And I truly understand what it means to look up to people in this industry. There are many people that I would absolutely love to work for, just I know I couldn't. And you took that dream job and it turned into a nightmare. Up until her tweet came out, I was making the comparison of Linus Tech Tips to Top Gear. And that is a comparison I continue to make with their production of the flagship Linus Tech Tips channel. It is the Top Gear of the tech world. I've always said the unofficial motto for Linus Tech Tips was, tech is fun. And this is proof. Because that was the unofficial motto for Top Gear. Cars are fun, and this is the proof. And when Linus said, yeah, people want to see it rip like a Bugatti, that was a proof for me that, like, yeah, this is right. And I've said that Linus is the Jeremy Clarkson of the tech community, and that was the pedestal that I was willing to put him on. Not anymore. Yeah, Clarkson is a great A asshole, and all you gotta do is read Richard Porter's book to know that. And yes, Clarkson has a fucking ego. Why do you think his head is so large? But Clarkson was able to wield that ego. Yes, he punched a producer. Yes, he made a half-ass fucking apology. But he was actually able to turn that around. This is something, not just with what Tech Jesus put out Gamers Nexus, sorry, I forgot his name for a second. The channel's name for a second. But now with what Madison put out, and with the list of a lot of the OGs leaving LMG, I'm sure more is just coming down. I'm sure this is just the faucet turning on. I honestly would not be surprised if we're going to hear from a lot of the OGs. Because once something opens up, it's a floodgate, and this is the beginning to a floodgate. And I'm sure what we're seeing right now is just a lot of the OGs just preparing those statements. Do I think LMG is going to weather this? I honestly don't know. We have seen a lot of other YouTubers able to weather something and just barely get through. But the difference is just the sheer size of LMG and the LMG empire. But if there's one thing Enron taught us, there was no such thing as too big to fail. I officially retract my statement of comparing Linus to Jeremy. Because he's not. He is absolutely not. What I'm afraid that's going to happen is this absolutely hit. And I honestly don't think lawsuit is going to happen. I think if enough people came out, a lawsuit could happen. But what I'm afraid of is the other teams that have put everything in the Linus basket is now at risk. Take a look at Luke and the float plane team. They cannot exist without LMG. Labs cannot exist without LMG. Yes, I'm sure there's many of people within the team that could probably band together and go off to do their own thing. We kind of saw that after NCIX, but we don't hear of them anymore. Yes, I would absolutely love to see Emily go out and make a Linux Tech Tips channel. But all the big hosts are now tainted if LMG crumbles. Linus has a hell of an ego, and I honestly do not know why that's a surprise. And because of the ego, problem after problem after problem after problem after problem after problem after problem just built up. And Gamers Nexus saw one of the big problems and fired the first shot. The Billets Lab, the incorrect graphs, and just poor ethics was Franz Ferdinand. The first shot was fired. We are now seeing the dominoes fall. And if you do not understand that reference, you are not a student of history. The apology video. I know a lot of people saying that they are just absolutely ignoring the Madison piece. I fully believe that video was already edited and just waiting for it to be uploaded. The time of day means that they worked really late into the day and probably just didn't have enough time or unable to reshoot and re-edit and rewrite to add Madison in. That is something I actually do kind of forgive. But just making a community post, that was not okay. This is something that needs to be absolutely addressed in a writer format. With, and oh my fucking god, that fucking. I saw someone say this is so bad they should have just given Linus a ukulele. I'm not gonna lie, I fucking laughed. Because that's honestly how I felt. This was one step away from a ukulele song. There is absolutely no fucking reason, one, A, that video to be monetized. B, those jokes about the plugs to the sponsors. B, the Linus merch store being promoted and a retro screwdriver, no matter how cool it looks, granted, to be promoted. The Luke 6'9" joke to be in there, and then if you take a look at Gamers X's video and the apology video, just look at the descriptions. You could definitely see what the parties were. Under the Gamers X's post, it said, "Hey, this is all demonetized. All of our regular go-to links are not in here because this was a special report." Linus video. Their usual fucking links are down there. That was fucking unacceptable. And I'm saying, well, we're just trying to be so. No. This was a disaster of a fucking apology video. And saying, well, Luke wanted to do that joke. Luke was with you from the absolute fucking beginning, Linus. And you just fucking threw him under the bus. This is when both you and Terrence should have, to quote Madison here, put on your big girl pants and say, no, this is fucking serious. No jokes, none of this fucking shit. We cannot be ourselves. This is serious. And how Taryn said, hey, I wish this was under better circumstances. Oh, that was pure corporate. And that was the right thing to say. I wish I could have been introduced to you in a lot better format. That was actually fucking the most perfect part of that fucking video. But starting off, ha ha ha, what the fuck are you doing here? Okay, not gonna lie, I kind of chuckled. But a little chuckle like that before getting to the serious stuff, that is okay. But once you got to the grindstone, it should have fucking stayed there. Video production is going down for 10 days, from my understanding. The first video is going to be going up to 26. From my understanding, we might see a few videos. But honestly, would not be surprised if all everything is just on hold. All the scheduled videos are taken down. I wouldn't be surprised. As they completely shake things up at LMG. And a huge fucking shakeup needs to happen. With them saying all production is down, are we going to see a WAN show on Friday? If we do, it's either going to be a very short one or a very long one. And I'm sure there's going to be sponsors. I'm sure there's going to be merch messages. This is fucking huge. I don't think this is going to be the end of Linus, but if we see over the next couple of years things slowing down, oh, we're selling labs, oh, Floatplane spilling off doing their own thing, staff layoffs, those will be the cues. And Linus has said a couple of times that both him and Yvonne said a couple of times that they're perfectly comfortable. this is one thing that time we're absolutely down. Thanks for coming to my rant, guys. Take care.